Hello learners, I am Dr. Dinesh Kumar Sharma. I retired as Assistant Professor from Department of ENT, Government Medical College, Amritsar. Under the Let's Learn ENT Together initiative, we have launched a program to help you improve your academic knowledge and clinical skills. Last week we discussed the first exercise book, which contained MCQs. Then we provided you with a second workbook which contains MCQs, columns to match, and label the diagrams. So we will be discussing these questions, but before we do that, I will be discussing some important points regarding the anatomy of the larynx so that you can understand the questions better. We are going to discuss the various membranes of the larynx. These membranes of the larynx are fibroelastic structures. They attach to the various cartilages and they provide the structural support. They also have, because of their fibroelastic nature, they act as barriers to stop the spread of malignancies within the larynx and outside the larynx. The first membrane which I want to discuss with you is the thyroid membrane. As the name suggests, it is attached to the thyroid cartilage and the hyoid bone. Hyoid bone further attaches to the infrahyoid and suprahyoid extrinsic muscles of the larynx. The thyroid membrane is attached superiorly to the hyoid bone, to its inferior surface of the hyoid bone, and inferiorly to the edges of the thyroid cartilage. With the help of this connection between the thyroid cartilage and the hyoid bone, the larynx is in a state of suspension within the neck, and because of this suspension, it is able to move up and down during the swallowing process. This is a necessity to avoid the aspiration of the food while eating. The arrangement of the extrinsic muscles of the larynx is such that there are suprahyoid muscles which lift the larynx up, and then there are the infrahyoid muscles which pull the larynx down. You may notice that in the structure of the thyroid membrane there are a couple of apertures which act as a passage for the neurovascular bundles to enter or leave the lumen of the laryngeal cavity. The thyroid membrane is punctured, or there is a aperture through which the internal laryngeal branch of the superior laryngeal nerve enters the lumen of the larynx and gives sensory supply to the supraglottis part of the larynx. You know that the larynx and the supraglottis and the subglottis, they have different embryological origin, and the supraglottis tends to drain towards the base of the tongue. So the lymphatic drainage of the supraglottic larynx is towards the base of the tongue, whereas that of the subglottis is towards the trachea. So it goes to the prelaryngeal and paratracheal lymph nodes. There are certain, as I told you, there are apertures, or there are certain few weak points within the thyroid muscle through which the malignancies can travel to the adjoining structures like pyriform sinus and this paraglottic space of the larynx. The second fibroelastic membrane to discuss is the quadrangular membrane. Quadrangular membrane attaches to the lateral border of the epiglottis. Thus it forms the airy epiglottic folds and goes posteriorly up to the midline and attaches to the arytenoid cartilage. Thus the quadrangular membrane forms part of the airy epiglottic fold. It has a lower border which is not attached to any structures except to the muscular process of the arytenoid and the posterior surface of the thyroid cartilage, and provides the framework for the false cord. So the lower border of the quadrangular membrane is known as the vestibular ligament. When it is covered by the mucosa, it is known as false cord. So the two false cords on the right and left side together form a sort of a sphincter which is not as strong as the true vocal cords, but it still plays a part in the protection of the tracheobronchial tree. So now you know that the quadrangular membrane is providing you the lower free border which becomes the false vocal cord, and the superior border goes into the airy epiglottic fold. The quadrangular membrane, it also plays a role in maintaining the integrity of the larynx. It supports the airy epiglottic folds and the false vocal cords. While it is not directly involved in the phonation, but it is part of the protective mechanism of the larynx. The quadrangular membrane again tries to act as a barrier to the spread of malignancies from one side to the other side of the larynx, but there are certain inherent weaknesses through which the malignancy can transgress the limits and go to the pyriform sinuses, paraglottic space and pre-epiglottic space, or to the surrounding structures outside the larynx. As I told you, the lymphatic drainage of the infraglottis or subglottis is towards the trachea, so it goes to the prelaryngeal and paratracheal lymph nodes. This conus elasticus is a fibroelastic structure much stronger than the false cords or the airy epiglottic folds. So it provides the framework on which the true vocal cords are formed. So the elasticity, and which increases the tension or relaxes the vocal cords, it gives the capacity to the vocal cords to vibrate during the phonation. This vibration is essential for the production of sound. So the conus elasticus contributes to the tension and movement of the vocal cords, which are controlled by the intrinsic muscles of the larynx. So the conus elasticus again has a function to the spread of laryngeal cancer. It acts as a barrier, but also provides as routes of spread through which the disease can spread to the surrounding structures. So let's remember that there are three membranes of the larynx: the thyroid, the quadrangular membrane, and the conus elasticus. These three muscles, these three membranes bind the larynx together, give it the flexibility to stretch and relax, to perform its function of protection of tracheobronchial tree, and to take part in the phonation. So individually you remember all the three nerves, all the three membranes, and the conus elasticus is most important of all these, since it is the strongest laryngeal sphincter. Now we come to the questions which were put to you in the second worksheet. So there were three questions on matching the columns. Each column had four parts, and the corresponding statements were opposite and then the second column. So you were required to match the four parts of the column with the second, with the other four parts, with the four parts of the second column, so that on the basis of any similarity you've noticed in them. So first question was, there are four questions in the column on the right hand side.